Now, up next on the show, we have our interview segment with managing partners and Naira consultant Mecca Olowole with a special focus on price modulation in the petroleum industry. Good to have you on the show this week, Mecca. Now, let's talk about price modulation. Now, we've seen that the government has decided to take key note of market fundamentals. And now, once again, we've seen a downward revision of the petroleum pump price. Now we have a price band for retail stations at about 121 naira to 123 naira 50 kobo. How do you think we've performed so far with all of these?
First and foremost, I think that it's sensitive of government for the reflection of the reduced crude oil prices on the local pump price. So we've seen movements in the last three months now. On the 20th of March, the PPPRA came out to say that they will allow market forces to determine the prices of petroleum pump price, albeit there will still be a bit of modulation going on here and there, and they brought it down from 145 naira per liter, then to 125. Subsequently, we saw again on the 1st of April, they moved it from 125 to 123 naira 50 kobo. We didn't see any movement, in May. They let it go, fixed at 123, and then on the last day of May, they moved it, to this range that you mentioned, and then yesterday they came out, to say that they are fully allowing market forces to determine, the prices of petroleum products. So I think it's a good move in the right direction. We're seeing a bit of, sensitivity there from the part of government to the plight of the people, and more importantly, to index the global price of crude oil.
Okay, let's now talk about guidelines necessary to ensure that we have compliance across board. What's your take on that as well?
So, from time, the PPPRA has always been challenged in terms of regulatory enforcement. They don't have enough manpower to just make sure that those prices are reflected, across board. But now that it's self-regulatory, we're expecting the Consumer Protection Agency to come alive now and be very active, to defend, the masses and the people, the consumers, in this regard. So this is something that the major marketers have always clamored for. If you remember, right from 2000, and then there was another movement in 2005, and then 2007, and like that progressively. So I suspect that there will be a lot of maturity on the side of MOMAN, which is the Major Marketers Association of Nigeria, to comply with this, so that we don't go back to the days prior to this, deregulation, if you call it that, which is something that we have waited for we have clamored for almost 18 to 20 years now.
Mecca, just before I let you go now, Nigeria is expected to lose as much as over 160 billion naira in deferred revenue due to the daily cut in crude oil production by OPEC members. Now,
Yes.
At a point in time where the global lens is fixed on how much of a review we'll see in terms of production cuts, how do you think Nigeria is expected to continue with this pledge of saying we are going to adhere to the rules, the regulations, and the cuts, and we are losing this much?
Okay, so yeah, there are several dynamics, affecting, the price of crude oil and how it affects us, in Nigeria. All right. We've taken a base position. We've revised the benchmark of crude oil in the budget to, $30 per barrel, and even going further to consider $20, per barrel. Now, if you notice, oil prices have started to rally, and Brent, as at yesterday, was $39.9, dollars per barrel.
About $40, yeah.
Yes, with the West Texas Intermediate at 34. So what you're saying is that, it's a short-term volatility in the marketplace, right? The OPEC plus is still going to, the tensions between Russia and Saudi Arabia is still going to subsist for a while. We're going to see that continue, and it may put pressure on, oil prices, in the negative zone, right? But with the sort of benchmarks that Nigeria has adopted, we should be able to weather the storm during this period. And by next year, like I said the last time, I was here, we're likely to see the prices, rally to around $50, right? Which would then be a bit more comfortable for us as a nation. So the idea for us is to diversify the economy, reduce reliance on petrodollar, right? And make sure that we have, our reserves coming from alternative sources of revenues. So once we have that, right, the issue about what, the dollar is doing, or how much, the oil prices are, would not be of serious significance anymore. Secondly, we need to get our refineries, working, they get our acts together regarding the refineries, okay? So that we can take full advantage of, whatever the oil prices are doing and opportunities like this, So I look forward to seeing, people like Petrolex and Dangote, who are aggressively working on making sure that they rid Nigeria of these shame, come on stream very quickly.
Most definitely. Thank you very much for your contribution on the show, and hopefully we see the oil market stabilize, and it's time for Nigeria to take necessary action to ensure that we don't have unnecessary external shocks kick off out of business. Thank you very much for your time, Mecca Olowola.
Thank you very much.
Well, that's it on this edition of Business Week, and thanks for watching once again. I'm David Alabi. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.